guys, it's Endria here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a face mask. All you need is some cotton material, a needle, and some thread, and you're good to go. I'm going to be using my serger, but if you don't have a sewing machine, you can definitely use needle and thread. So here we go. So here are the materials that you're going to need. I have my cotton material here and my inside fabric. So this is a nylon, but you can definitely use the same fabric that you have for your cotton. And also you'll need a pair of scissors, some thread. I have some pins here as well, but if you don't have any pins, it's fine. So the first step that you're going to do is cut out your pieces of fabric. So with your cotton fabric and your inside fabric, you would need the dimensions of your width to be 7 inches across. So 7 inches across, and then your height will be 7.5 inches, and your short curve will be 6.5 inches, and then your long curve will be 8 inches. So once you cut those out, you will need 2 for this side and 2 for that side. And then the next step would be to sew this side down as well as this side. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're sewing your long curve first. And if you have your needle and thread, you would just sew on the edge. And you're gonna do the same for your inside fabric. So you should have both of your inside long curves sewn. So after you have both of your insides sewn, this will be the outside and this will be the inside. So you're going to take both of your inside fabrics at your point and have them facing together. You can have your seam facing either way, but we're going to have it facing the right. And then you can take your pin it at the middle, and then you're going to match up your edges. And after you match up your edges on the top, you're going to do the same thing for the bottom. So at the bottom, I have my seam matched up. Then you're going to do the same for the other ends. And your last side. And what you're going to do next is you're going to sew from here all the way around to the other side. Do not sew this part yet, but then we're going to sew the bottom straight across. So your 2 ends should not be sewn. And make sure you're matching up your fabric so that way one is not sewn off. And even if you make a mistake, it's fine. You can take the thread out and start over. So we have our top done, and now we're going to do the bottom. So here we have our top and our bottom sewn. Again, the 2 ends are not sewn together. So what you want to do after this step is just fold it right side out, and then we're going to take it and you can iron it so that way it's not really poofy. So what you're going to do is take the inside, if you have your iron, and sew it down. Iron it down so that way it's not puffy. So we're going to go and do that now. So with your iron, you can put your fingers in between so that way you flatten it out. And you would just take your iron and iron across. Make sure you have your seams matched up so you can put your finger in as best as you can and just pull it out a little. You just iron it going straight across for the top and the bottom. And be careful not to burn yourself, and make sure that your iron is not too hot for your fabric. But since you're using cotton, you should be fine. And then I'm going to iron the bottom. If you want to, you can iron the middle. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But then after you iron it, it should look like this. So you have your front, your back, and everything is ironed in place. So what you want to do now is just go ahead and sew your ends together. I'm going to use my serger, but you can sew your ends together, and then I'll show you how to fold it over, sew it down, and then do your elastic. So after you have ironed everything down and you sewed your edges, mine is right on the edge. Make sure you have just a little bit off when you sew, and it can just be a straight stitch. So what you're going to do now is grab some elastic, or even if you have some type of stretchy material, it can be really thin, and you would measure out 7 inches for your elastic. So you would need 2. So 2 7-inch elastic pieces. So we're going to take our face mask and we're going to fold it over about 1 inch wide. And what you're going to do is sew straight down on the edge. Try not to go on the outside of the fabric. We can go right on the edge to sew it. And remember, you're going to use a straight stitch. And when you're sewing with your thread and needle, make sure to put a little knot at the top so that the thread doesn't come off. If you have a sewing machine, you can backstitch at the beginning and at the end. Cut your thread, and then you're going to do the same thing for the other side. Remember, we want it to be at least 1 inch wide, so that way you're able to get your elastic through. And if you're not able to do 1 inch wide, you can always do about 5/8 of an inch wide, or at least 1/2 inch. Depending on the length that you want it to be, it will probably be best to do about between 5/8 and 1 inch. So you have both of your ends sewn. Remember to make a knot at the top and the bottom if you are using your thread and needle. And the last thing that you're going to do is take your elastic, and your edge should be big enough to just push it through. But if not, you can take your safety pin, push it through your elastic, and knead it through. And while you're kneading it through, try not to pull it all the way out, because then you will have to start over. And you want to do that for both sides. So you can either use your safety pin, or you can just push it through. Let's see if it'll work this time. Almost there. All right, so you have your elastic through on both sides. So the last step, well, the second to last step, is for you to take both of your ends of your elastic, put them on top of each other, about 2 centimeters wide, and then you're going to sew right in the middle. So if you have your thread and needle, you can do a couple stitches. Make sure that you do a really nice knot so that way it doesn't come apart. But if you have your sewing machine, you can put on your zigzag stitch. Don't forget, put them on top of each other. It may be a little tricky because the elastic is really thin, but you can get it through. Have to thread the needle again. And you want to do some back stitches, a couple more front stitches, and there you have it. This is all you need for your stitching, so that way when you pull it, it does not come apart. And you would do the same thing for the other side. Remember, about 2 centimeters across, because you don't want to sew too much of the elastic or it'll be pulling really tight on your ears. And the last step is to pull your elastic through so that way your zigzag stitch doesn't show. Just take it and pull it through. And then here you have your finished product. So this would be your face mask, and then all you got to do is just put it on. And you're good to go. Thank you guys. Have a great day.